What is this? 2 videos in a month? That sounds absolutely insane. Yeah, I honestly should be making more videos. If I ever want to be a full-time content creator, I probably need to start being more consistent. But because I have the time and I have a really good topic to talk about, I did recently get access to the Marvel Rivals closed beta, and I went on stream and watched 60 minutes, and then I had to wake up 3 days in a row at 8 o'clock just to hope that I might get access to this game. Now, was it worth it? Yes. Is it the best game I've ever played? Not exactly. But is it one of the most fun games I've had to play in a while? Kinda is. And not just because it's new or fresh, exactly. It's not exactly a fresh new game. It's not like it's the first of its kind if you haven't really noticed. But the thing is about Marvel Rivals is that it is a kind of a new breath, fresh air in a dying kind of formula. Even though the formula doesn't really stray too far from what it is, it definitely has some new life to bring, as well as some small tweaks that make it a little bit better than its predecessor type of in the genre. And what I mean by predecessors, it's hard not to talk about Overwatch and Valorant and Apex, because those are probably the main hero shooters nowadays. But to be honest, Overwatch 2 is kind of not great right now, and I don't think it's ever really changed anyone's opinion ever since Overwatch 2 was just not been in a better state. Valorant is just not really a competition for this game. It's a tac shooter at the end of the day. They're not exactly the same thing, though at the same time, there are hero shooters, so it begs the question, what makes it competition? Not exactly. I'm pretty sure the people who really love tac shooters will stay on Valorant, but for the people looking for a more casual experience, I think Rivals is going to be a really, really good contender. And for people who are saying Apex is has competition, Apex has never really had competition. The only competition Apex Legends has is itself at this point. Like, let's be honest. So, overall, what do I think about Marvel Rivals? I think it's a pretty good game. It's not the best thing, again. There are a lot of things you have to work on, but it has the chance to become one of my main games in my roster. Because I don't have a woman roster, I have a game roster. Thanks, Mom and Dad. If you don't know what Marvel Rivals is, it's a 6v6 hero shooter. Basically very similar to Overwatch, and most of the competitive stuff is just convoy missions or capture the point like old Overwatch was. And yeah, you have healers, you have DPS and tank. I'm not gonna call them by I think it's like strategist, duelist, and Vanguard. I think I don't really remember. Maybe that's right. I'm not really sure, but I'm not gonna call them by that just because it makes no sense. Everyone knows what those roles are if they played Overwatch, which is most people who've played Rivals have played Overwatch. So let's start off with the good things about this game I really like. Number one, the art style, amazing. I think it's ripped straight out from the comics. I love the art style, the design of the characters. They're iconic, yeah, they're different from the original ones, especially the ones for Spider-Man. It's not exactly an iconic costume per se for Spider-Man, but it looks pretty similar to a lot of what we know, but it's still different enough to tell that this isn't the normal one that we see. And it's cool because you don't really see this many characters ever in one art style, like a lot, like pretty often. It's also weird to see obscure characters like Penny Parker, especially the new one, Jeff the Land Shark. It's kind of crazy thing Jeff the Land Shark made its debut before Captain America did in an Avengers-like game. I don't know why, but honestly, if they're gonna go for this route, at least we gotta throw in Deadpool and we gotta throw in Gambit and shit like that. They gotta throw all the like not so mainstream heroes. Although I guess Deadpool and Gambit are becoming more mainstream now. But you know, in video games, Deadpool and Gambit were definitely not at one point. Because I remember playing Ultimate Alliance 2 and Ultimate Alliance 1, and I remember Ultimate Alliance 1, I used to play the fuck out of Deadpool, and no one knew who Deadpool was at that time. So other than that, the 6v6, I really miss that. 6v6 it's been on my heart ever since the original Overwatch, and I'm honestly really sad that they took it away in Overwatch 2. Yes, it is more in a state of balance. Overwatch 2 is right. 5v5 is less complicated to understand than 6v6, but at the same time, more people, more fun. And another thing I really liked about it was not just the designs of the characters in terms of the design, but also in the way they play. So Loki, for example, is one of my favorite ones. Is actually, I don't even like Loki that much as a character, but I really like the way they made him not a DPS, because you'd think he'd be a DPS, but he's actually a support in this game. The reason he's a support, he uses a lot of clones, he heals, he's deceiving, but he doesn't really lose any of the things that make him Loki. Like, he still does a good amount of deceiving, like, that's what Loki's whole thing is. He's about deceiving and, you know, being a backstabber, basically. So what he does is he plays around clones, which is really cool because that's kind of what Loki does in the comics and the movies. He plays around projections and stuff. So it makes sense for Loki to do what he does in the game without sacrificing like the role he has as a character for the game. Basically, NetEase never had to change the way the character works, but he still works like Loki. even though he's a support. And for the most part, almost every single character in this game is just very fun, very interesting, and it's a special take on how the character should work. The thing is that this game came out after Overwatch, and it really just shows how much they've learned from Overwatch. Like Adam Warlock, right? He has the ult that Mercy used to have, until, you know, Blizzard just said no more fun for you, fuck that, and then they just fucked that ult completely and just gave her a new ult. NetEase just went like, fuck it, we want that ult back, but to balance it a little bit, everyone gets like pretty shit health. And that's like a pretty good way to balance it, because the spectacle is that all these characters are overpowered as fuck, and like let's be honest, Adam Warlock is an insane character, so to nerf him just by saying that, you know, he's not gonna have any cool abilities is kind of an insult to those characters and the lore they have. So what they do is they just change some terms to balance it out, and honestly, I'm glad that this ult is in the game, as much as it might not be cool to like fuck, like, you know, the whole team got res again, but at least it makes for interesting dynamics. And they are Marvel characters, they're not meant to be like, you know, they're not meant to shape, they can't change because of the way they are. These characters were made so long ago that changing how they work in terms of the vision of these power levels that they have seems insulting. Like, I think Iron Man and Spider-Man play like Iron Man and Spider-Man. However, I do think that Spider-Man's a little bit on the weird side, that he's more of an assassin type character, even though we know that Spider-Man can tank a lot of damage. He's very squishy.
Gonna get sticky! Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man! That's the problem.
Double kill!
But also I feel
That's
more
3!
comfortable. 3 is the magic number.
Wow, 4 in a row!
We're off.
However, I like to say that Iron Man is probably one of my favorite characters in the game, which is really cool because I love the way Iron Man plays in this game. He's like Pharah, but if Pharah was good, in my opinion, because Pharah's ass in Overwatch. But Pharah, because the difference between Iron Man and Pharah is that Iron Man's not just an utility mage in the sky, he can also go in. He just doesn't, he's an insane amount of presence, and it doesn't require a ton of skill to be effective with, which I feel like Pharah is only effective when you're pretty good with her. But none of them really compare to my favorite, which is Star-Lord. Star-Lord's like if Tracer McCree had a baby, and it was just awesome. And the thing is, even though it is Tracer McCree, gameplay-wise, the stylish and the animations of what Star-Lord does, it feels like Star-Lord. It doesn't feel like Tracer McCree. It feels like Star-Lord because of the way they did it. Oh my god. There are two things that make this stand out from Overwatch in general, and that has to be the team up abilities and the destructive environment. So let's talk about the latter first, actually. The destructive environments are cool, although it definitely changes the way you want to make some sight lines for yourself, and some characters will definitely want to break down those walls just because they want to have like the presence. Like Punisher on his turret wants to destroy all those walls so we can see better, you know? It makes sense. But I've never been like, because of this one destructive environment, we've been able to win or lose, because I think that's kind of weird that they respawn after a certain amount of time. The last thing I want to talk about is this team ups that are good, and I think this is like it's the coolest thing. Team up abilities are really cool. For example, if you have an Adam Warlock on your team and a Star-Lord, Adam Warlock gives his passive to Star-Lord, so Star-Lord now has a passive of being able to revive himself. That's so fucking cool, like if you're a Star-Lord player, right? Another one is just getting a straight up extra ability like Venom. Venom gives Spider-Man and Penny Parker like symbiote tendrils so they can just explode full of symbiote like damage. It's really cool. Like that they just happen to coexist, like, you know, and it works in the lore, obviously. There are some that are kind of weird that they don't exist though. Like I'm surprised that Rocket Raccoon doesn't have one with Star-Lord. The Guardians of the Galaxy, they should have one at least. But I understand why they can't add as many, because in terms of balance, it might be horrific to add too many characters that have the same team up abilities. You know, they want to make it unique enough, but they don't want to make people have repeat abilities when you just, let's say, have one Star-Lord, but let's say Iron Man and Rocket both work with him and they have different abilities with him, then Star-Lord becomes kind of overpowered. But I don't know, it is kind of weird to balance, so I guess I won't talk about it that much. But it's a very cool concept, and I hope they build on it, if anything, and it's the main thing that makes it different from normal meta comms like in Overwatch or something. But we're going to move on from the good stuff to the kind of bad stuff. If you guys watch my finals review, you know what I think about Unreal Engine 5. It's not exactly the most optimized, especially for a competitive first person or third person shooter. Not it, man. It's still a work in progress, and I know why people are using it. It's because for the destructive environments, it makes sense to use Unreal Engine 5. But at the same time, man, I'd rather be on Unreal Engine 4 and have a, you know, 200 plus FPS, because right now I have a 4070 Ti and the i9, whatever the new one was, it's only getting me about an average of 120 FPS, and I'm playing on the lowest settings too, which is obviously a lot of people, again, the argument like it's 120 FPS, like you should really, a lot of people can't get 120 FPS. I know, but like I did pay like $2,000 for this computer. I guess the PS5 and Xbox One are pretty powerful nowadays, but the fact is, it's just 60 FPS is okay, but 120 FPS is probably what everyone wants nowadays. I wasn't even getting 120 FPS consistently. I was on the Spider Island map getting like 90 at most, but most of the time it was 60s, 70s, and that's kind of abysmal. Again, lowest settings, which is horrible. But yeah, I think the fact is the game does look good, I get it, but it definitely doesn't look that good to the point where like it doesn't look hyper realistic to understand why the FPS is dropping so much. Like the finals did have a sense of realistic, graphics, but Marvel Rivals doesn't. It looks like something I could run on my phone. Even if it is beautiful. In addition, the optimization for this game, other than just the FPS, is just the FPS drops and stutters and like random animations that just keep canceling and coming in and out. It's very, very obvious that this game is not done yet, but like I kind of hoped it was. There are a lot of things that are definitely good about it, like the menus look really good. The UI overall is just very solid, and I'm surprised how good it is considering it's just in beta. But even though those things are polished, the experience of using them is not polished because they keep randomly like popping in, popping out. Just break through the
I'll patch you up.
It's now or never.
I'm not gonna break through it.
It's the grand finale.
Hey, idiot! Turn around.
That I feel like that stuff just shouldn't happen. I feel like you nail the fundamentals before you add the, it's right now it's form over function and function over form. That's what it feels like. Not to say that none of it works. I mean, I've definitely had my crashes and experience in betas before this, but this just seems to be happening from time to time more than it should be. And another thing I really don't like is just the way they get the beta. It's a horrible experience waking up so early in the morning. To me, because I'm on summer vacation, I slept at like 2 o'clock. I'm not like, it's not great to wake up at 8 or 7:55 and then hope to wake up, get a key, and then realize that it's all gone, and then be sad about it. But I feel like that's just me nitpicking for that. But the one I really want to talk about is the balance. And this is the one where it's like, okay, how are we not talking about the balance? Hela, Scarlet Witch, the broken ones, and I mean broken as in they're actually too good to be true. And that's obviously Scarlet Witch and Hela. Scarlet Witch is the definition of you don't need aim, you just need brain to win as a duelist, because holy shit, like she requires no skill. And I'll take these clips from my Twitch stream. I dropped like 31 kills without dying. Four kills, quad. 4 kills, bro. That's 4.
In a row.
That's so stupid.
Now, a disappearing act.
You're halfway there. Keep going.
Oh my god, give me the ace.
So it begins.
Oh,
Kill.
oh. Because she has not only good damage, an easy way to do damage because it's a left click like Mora. And not only does it do that, she has a free escape that not just allows her to take no damage, but you can also get high ground, stay in the high ground, regenerate that damage, and then also have the most insane ult plus CC. Plus fucking CC. We didn't need CC, but they gave her CC. Like, to say that her kit is not overloaded is an understatement. It 100% is overloaded. Her kit is just too good. And they need to nerf something. I think they nerf the damage, obviously. She just does way too much damage. Her ult being what it is right now is okay, I guess, because you have to focus her, and she's kind of vulnerable for a bit. But her main damage abilities, like her right click and left click, need to be adjusted a little bit. It is too easy to be good at Scarlet Witch. The fact you go negative, like a really big negative, when someone else on your team has way more kills than you, is honestly like you are not playing the game. I saw some guy go 2-7. And I had like 15 kills. There is no way you go 2-7 when I had 15 kills on your team. Like, you just had to press left click. It's brain dead. Another one is Hela, and it's not because I think Hela is like broken as the same way as Scarlet Witch. I think the problem is with Hela is that if you're good at Hela, you're still gonna be too good. Half the time you accidentally hit a headshot or you hit the body. It's like old McCree, like when you did way too much damage for no reason. Like they nerfed the damage of McCree a lot, so they kind of have to do the same with her because her basic abilities, like her basic fire, just does way too much damage for what it is. And half the time when I watch death cams, they don't hit me intentionally, they just accidentally hit me, and then they just end up killing me because of how much damage it does. Her ult also, I feel like, needs to be nerfed because she has 1,000 health in the air. Maybe give her 800, because it's a lot of health, and it's hard to focus one character with 1,000 health who is a DPS hero. When there's a tank and then another DPS trying to kill you. Just think that's a little bit overkill for me. Her CC is very minimal, so I don't mind that, but I think Scarlet Witch is way too crazy. And I think they should just buff Hulk. I feel like Hulk has just been the worst character in the game so far. I've killed so many Hulks as Star-Lord, and I know that's like, I'm a DPS, I'm supposed to focus like supports and healers, but like Hulk has nowhere to go, bro. He's just so big. He just takes so much damage. He's melee only, so he doesn't really do damage to you. Unless you're like really close to his face, which he has to get in front of your face, but if you're playing Star-Lord or someone, fucking get the fuck away, and it wouldn't matter, right? So that's why I think melee characters are just really shit right now, most of them at least. So yeah, buff Hulk. But all these things are definitely fixable. And that's the thing, like this is all fixable in theory, and you have a really, really solid game. Nothing else has really stood out to me so far because I'm really enjoying my experience in this game. Like I feel like it's old Overwatch, and that's something that's hard to capture nowadays. Because I remember right before I entered the army when I was 18 with my friends, we would play League of Legends, and we would always play the Avengers theme song near late game just because like, dude, we wanted to feel like the fucking Avengers. This is that game. This is that game now. Overall, I'd have to give Marvel Rivals and its beta stage a solid 8 out of 10. Like it's really, really good, and I really enjoyed playing it. Obviously the technical issues are the main thing that's drawing me back right now. If it's easier to run, this game's getting a 9, but the problem is there's so many bugs and shit right now that's happening. Like half the time my character doesn't load in, and yeah, I just think that there's a lot of characters that are missing. And honestly, I think we should just add more characters to support, because I feel like there should be just way more support characters. In my opinion, that just do a lot more, like, more versatile support characters. Because I feel like they're doing that now, but like with Jeff, for example, Jeff is such an awesome example of what a versatile support is. I just feel like there should be more Jeffs. And also Jeff is really adorable. Anyways, I hope you guys eventually get access to this game. When it does come out in open beta, it'll be amazing. I hope you guys really enjoy it. But for now, and if I had to pick one character in this game I love, it's gotta be Star-Lord, man. Star-Lord's the best. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like and follow for more.